price, list price, invoice, all sorts of terms. Here's what you need to know. New or used car. You want to be more confident when you're car shopping? Go to TrueCar.com. Listen, the best weekend in the NFL was Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck didn't play this year. The next time Andrew Luck goes on a field, because he missed this last year, he'll have 9 new draft picks, 30 new players, and a new coaching staff. Over a year ago, I predicted, I told you what I believe was happening. Chris Ballard became the general manager. I told you I believe he sat down with Andrew Luck and his dad, Oliver Luck, and said, your kid's not healthy. I'm not putting him in the crosshairs of this coaching staff in this division with good pass rushers with our personnel. And they sat him. And they kept pushing it off, telling the media he's close. And then about week 10, as I predicted, they'll say, got to shut him down. Can't shut him down week 3. Can't shut him down week 6. Week 10, 11, you can shut him down. Everybody's going to be on your side and say, well, of course, you can't play him now. They're out of the playoff race. It was all orchestrated. That was my theory. In the process, you're going to have a bad year. You could fire your coach, get a top draft pick, which you could use to trade and get other draft picks. This is exactly what has happened. Andrew Luck, the next time he plays, will have 9 new young draft picks and 30 new total players and a new coaching staff. The winner this weekend was Andrew Luck. The Colts now moved down just 3 spots and got 2 second-rounders this year and another second-rounder next year. They hit it out of the park. And I believe Chris Ballard will never tell anybody and probably shouldn't tell anybody, but really smart people have a plan. And his plan was, I'm not putting Andrew Luck in this mess. We might as well be bad for a year, get picks, I'll flip the roster. It's my first year on the job. Nobody's running me out. Then Andrew comes back healthy, offensive-minded staff, which, by the way, we predicted that hired Frank Reich from Philadelphia. And then I'm going to have a great pick, which I don't need a quarterback. It's a strong year for college quarterbacks. 7 teams need quarterbacks, and I'll manipulate it and trade it off. It is all working perfectly. Too many things have gone right for the Colts in a row to say, whoa, it just happenstance. Nonsense. Everything has gone perfectly for a year. Why? Chris Ballard had a plan. It's not going to make it public, but everything has worked out perfectly. They did exactly what they should have done with this number 3 pick. Moved it and gotten 3 second-round picks. I mean, it's just, it's amazing about that 6th pick. They had the 3rd pick, but didn't need a quarterback. So the 6th pick, depending on what people take before them, it's very possible 3 of the 5 teams picking before them will take quarterbacks. So they'll get a Bradley Chubb. They'll get a Denzel Ward. They'll get a Quentin Nelson. All areas of need. They'll get a Minka Fitzpatrick. He'd probably be my 4th because I don't think safety is as valuable as a great interior offensive lineman, a pass rusher, or a corner. I mean, about the one thing they don't need is wide receivers, and it's not a very good wide receiver class. By the way, Joe Banner, former president of the Eagles, said on Twitter this weekend, it's reasonable to assume that the New York Giants turned down 3 number 2s to move to 6. They either love a quarterback or made an awful decision. Their actions up until now say the Giants aren't picking a quarterback. I like Saquon Barkley, by the way. If he fell to 6, I could get drafting him. I don't think he will. I would struggle to draft in a running back rich draft. I would really struggle to draft Saquon Barkley number 2 when I've got a 37-year-old quarterback, Eli Manning, who, by the way, I still think has a year or 2. I mean, again, if you give him a great left tackle, you give him a running back, you give him Pat Shurmur, you give him a new offense. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Eli has a bounce-back year, and he's stayed mostly healthy his entire career. So the Giants went out and they paid a ton for a new center. Didn't they pay a ton for a center? Who got the Giants center? The kid from Colorado State. They lost a center. They gained a left tackle. Anyway, that's where we're at. Christine with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
back when the Celtics traded Isaiah Thomas to the Cavs, remember he said that he might not ever talk to Danny Ainge again?
Right.
He was upset.
Yeah, sure.
But over the weekend, he was doing a question and answer segment on Twitter with fans. Have you ever done that? Open it up to a Q&A?
Once or twice. Regretted it, yeah. You know, Twitter. People are kind of vulgar, yeah.
Oh, they got vulgar with you? So someone asked Isaiah, would you consider coming back to Boston this offseason? And his response was, anything can happen. So it looks like maybe he's changed his mind, because that's a far departure from I would never talk to Danny Ainge again.
Yeah, they're not going to pay for Isaiah Thomas.
No, but maybe he won't get that much money in the open market. And he does love Boston, so maybe they bury the hatchet?
I don't think he fits their plan.
Or he's just saying,
he's just being
I need
a nice
somewhere to go.
Yeah. I don't think I think Boston's the last place in the league he fits. They have a ball dominating guard. Gordon Hayward's going to need shots. In when you look at the system that Brad runs, I think he's a little bit of a ball stopper at times. So I don't. But I think it's good for him. He's a man. He steps up. He's okay with it. He's getting over it. He'll find a team. I think he's going to find a team that's fairly desperate that just needs. I mean, I'm serious. I think the really good teams in the league are not looking for Isaiah Thomas. And most of them have really good guards. Golden State, Houston, Boston, Toronto. Most good teams in this league. Portland, Oklahoma City.
Teams, have good point guards, but
used to be in the NBA in the 50s, 60s, 70s. The good teams all had a good center. Now the good teams in the league all have a good guy running the show.
Okay. Last week, it started getting out that Floyd Mayweather was talking about himself being a good wrestler and that he could do well in UFC and that he's thinking about actually doing a fight, which I think is ridiculous.
So do I.
But now TMZ caught up with him again, and he's saying that he's close to getting his paperwork to get licensed as a pro MMA fighter.
Did your team apply for an MMA license to fight?
Not yet. But everything takes time. Eventually, we're going to apply for the license, and hopefully we can fight.
Okay. They said it might take you about 3 months training. I mean, I know you train hard.
It probably need a little bit longer. Even if it takes 6 to 8 months, whatever it takes. We want to make sure that everything is done correctly and everything is done the right way.
That's ridiculous.
I'm with you. He's going to be 42?
I don't even think that matters. I think, first of all, Floyd's popping up on TMZ twice in 2 weeks. That's suspicious. And
so you believe why do you think this is happening?
Promotion.
He's helping UFC out, or he's helping him.
You think so?
Well, I think Dana White did him a real solid by promoting. The Conor Mayweather thing was way bigger than most of us predicted. It became a real thing.
Yeah, but I don't think it's realistic that Floyd's ever going to actually.
Oh, I don't think so either. But I think he's giving UFC a bunch of talk and a bunch of buzz.
Okay.
They lost John Jones. They lost Brock. They lost.
Why would he just be doing a favor, though?
Because Dana did him a favor, made him a bunch of money promoting his fight, which, by the way, he got a cut of the pay-per-view.
Right.
So Dana, who's a great promoter, promoted the hell out of it, made him a lot of money, and Floyd saying, I'll give you a solid back. I'll get you in the news. I just don't know that
Floyd's the kind of guy to be like, let me do you a solid.
I know that's not his history, but when
there's got to be something.
I just don't see him fighting.
Writing
you think
money.
He's fighting in this?
No,
I don't think he's fighting.
Because the way that I put it is when I think of Floyd, I think of two things: ego and money, and which is going to outweigh. Because he's going to get paid a lot of money if he did a UFC fight.
He's going to get crushed.
He's going to get crushed. So his ego, I think, outweighs his love of money, and he doesn't want to get embarrassed. So I can't seem to.
I agree with you. I don't think Floyd Mayweather's last memory in a ring is somebody pummeling him.
Well, it would be an octagon.
Or octagon.
So it's a little in a cage sort of.
I just don't see him. I think if he wants to do it, fine. But I think it would be ugly. It'd be the last video we have of him, and I think it would be embarrassing.
But I also said that the Mayweather-McGregor fight wasn't going to happen, and it did, so who knows. And finally, did you watch any golf this weekend? Probably not. But
highlights of Tiger. I was so into the tournament. Into the tournament.
It was a big sports weekend. So apparently alcohol has become an issue now with golf. And a couple instances have happened where they've had to remove fans.
Yeah.
A month ago, Rory McIlroy said that the commotion from a bunch of drunk fans cost Tiger Woods a half shot per round. And then on Saturday, in the third round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, someone was screaming out Rory McIlroy's wife's name. He shot a 67, so he was upset that they were screaming his wife's name and that it distracted him for the record, Tiger Woods said as long as they don't yell on our golf swings, we're fine. Okay. It is golf, so I understand that there's a lot of focus that needs to go into that. But you need fans. There are going to be drinks at sporting events. That's a lot of the reason why fans go. And they're going to yell. In every sport, they yell things. They taunt. Wives' names are usually part of that.
Listen.
And so in golf, like, I get that it's quieter and you're supposed to golf clap, but you got to get used to that, I think.
I mean, listen, golf's not in a position
Right.
where they can say no alcohol and lose 20% of their crowd. I mean, it's not like
And be quiet.
It's not a stirring event. I mean, you basically stand in the heat for hours.
Right.
Like you.
I would be thrilled if someone was like, yeah, like, go Rory. Or, I mean, screaming out a player's wife's name. Hopefully it was all clean. But,
I'm with Tiger on this. If you don't scream during the shot.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think golf's not in a position. Listen, man, you're asking people, and I'm serious here, Christine. If you go to a golf event, you're in the sun for 12 hours.
I know.
To get a
I've had
seat,
to cover a couple tournaments.
so have I. It's
hard.
brutal.
Yeah.
It's
It's really hard to find things to talk about and to run all over the holes.
People need their entertainment and their Bud Light.
Yeah.
Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
By the way, I want to show you this. This is Alvin Gentry. He is defending his player, Anthony Davis. He had a meltdown this weekend. It's kind of funny. I mean, Anthony Davis of the Pelicans, his coach is Alvin Gentry, and Gentry's upset that his guy never gets the call. He had a meltdown after one of these games.
I thought we did everything we could to try to win the game. That's a great team down there. They're a great team with a great player. To me, he's the MVP of the league. He's done everything to earn that. But all I'm saying is that, if you're going to do that, then call it both ways. When AD rolls to the basket and AD's grabbed and he's held, then give him the same call that you would give somebody else. That's all. It's not right. It's not right. Because you know what? We're battling our ass off for a playoff spot. And all we want is to have the game called the right way. Everybody look at that. You take a look at that. If anybody out here thinks it's a foul, then you tell me. Then I'll shut up and I won't say one more thing ever again. You take a look at the play. You take a look at the play. When the guy walks up and winks his eye and says, yeah, I got him, Thanks. Bye.
By the way, in most fouls drawn per game, Anthony Davis is second in the league, meaning that's pretty good. He's only behind DeMarcus Cousins, and it should be noted, they call something in the NBA usage rate, and his usage rate is not top 5, but fouls drawn a game is second. Translation is Anthony Davis is being treated very fairly. I think there is a cult of victimhood in basketball where the number one coach in terms of glamour program is John Calipari, and he never stops complaining about what seed we have, what bracket we have, what path we have, what city we're playing in. You would never hear football coaches going crazy about holding calls like that. You would never hear a college football coach like Calipari's equal on a campus complaining about what bowl game and what seed and what. Like, basketball is got to stop whining. I mean, these coaches are legends. Boeheim and Calipari. You're at Syracuse and Kentucky. Kentucky's going to make the Final Four, and having played nobody. Their path is going to be Davidson, Buffalo, Loyola of Chicago. I mean, come on. It couldn't be better. I mean, say what you want about Alabama, but they have to play LSU and Georgia, and then they have to play Auburn, and then they have a conference championship game, and then they have to play like a Clemson in a semifinal. That's a tough path. Kentucky's going to get to the Final Four, and they can't shoot. I mean, it's probably the weakest offensive team Calipari's ever had at Kentucky, and they're going to get to the Final Four. It's very strange what we have going on in basketball right now. This is nothing against Alvin Gentry, who by all accounts is a nice guy, but you got to slow down on this stuff. You got to slow down. Ryan Holland's a 10-year NBA veteran, will now join us now. We got a couple different things. Ty Lue is stepping down for at least the moment in Cleveland. Okay. my first takeaway is this is all stressful and LeBron's leaving and it's just creating this toxic environment. I'm not saying it's all LeBron. I tend to be a LeBron apologist, but isn't LeBron part of this toxic, stressful situation, perhaps?
Of course he is. LeBron creates a lot of stress, not just on the court, but off the court, within the locker room and with the guys there. Colin, I'm concerned. Ty is he's a very good friend of mine. I've been with him in Boston, been with him in L.A. He's a mentor to me as a young guy. When he played for the Lakers, he'd always come up to UCLA and play. He's a stand-up guy. And to say that he's having chest pains, he's hurting. Look, Colin, I lost my father because he's complaining of chest pains, and his heart essentially gave out. So I'm concerned. So this is life and death for him to be missing. He's that type of guy.
Very competitive.
Incredibly.
Yeah, I have friends who from the Clippers who know him, and they're like, listen, man, this guy is all in on winning. Doug Gottlieb came in earlier and said some of this is, had LeBron just said, I'm staying in Cleveland. But what's happened now is there's a real sense, GM, coach, players, LeBron's out of here. So it's putting this incredible stress on the organization. Every time they lose a game, it can't be a 2-game losing streak or LeBron's out of here. You're sourcing, the players you know. Would this be an easier year for Cleveland if there wasn't this, we got to make LeBron happy or he's gone?
Absolutely, Colin. And I was in Cleveland post-LeBron, and there was this feeling, this vibe that everybody in the organization was so upset with LeBron. Why? Because they all walked on pins and needles. Everybody was nervous to say the statement that made him want to leave or didn't cater to him or upset him. And you see this same vibe in Cleveland. And with Ty Lue's stress comes in play, what they do, they essentially brought in 4 new guys, right?
Right.
So now what do? Whenever LeBron goes, you clean house. You clean house. So Ty Lue's in this in-between stage. Are we winning now? Am I a part of Cleveland moving forward? What does my future look like? One of the most stressful situations possible. And then it's going, hey, do I get into it with LeBron? Do I still coach this guy up? Or do I just sit here and make him happy?
When it's funny about the regular season. Portland hasn't lost in 5 weeks. Utah hasn't lost in a month. Boston and Cleveland are scrapping. Westbrook's on fire. Most of the regular season, they talk about in baseball, Ryan, the dog days of baseball, the dog days of summer, like June and July. We all know who the good teams are. The good teams are resting their starters. I'm watching some things happen right now. Westbrook and OKC on fire, Portland on fire, Utah on fire. Cleveland can't get its act together. Right now in the NBA, what do you know is true? The Oklahoma City in the last 2 weeks, is this the truth? Is Portland the truth? What do you know to be truthful right now in the NBA?
Well, I'm going to take you to give you a player's perspective.
Okay.
So regular season, first half of the season, you want to float around. You're still figuring out who you are. Guys are going to be traded, moved. What's our lineup? Who's going to be here for the long run? After the All-Star break, it's business time. You're not worried about being traded. You don't know who's going to go where. You kind of see and you know who you are moving forward. Now teams get serious. Teams that have got a couple hot wins early in the season, you won't see that later on. Oklahoma City, one thing I know and what I've been preaching and what you've been hating on is that Rome wasn't built in a day. So now you see OKC getting hot. They are a contender.
Melo's playing better, by the way. Melo, last couple of weeks, Melo's kind of found his thing.
Okay, well, you remember this. Melo in New York. Remember when Chauncey Billups got there?
Yeah.
Tyson was there on the rim. When were they really good? Melo was playing what position?
3?
Stretch 4. He played stretch 4. Chauncey Billups relieved him from a lot of those things, and he was playing off of a closeout position where he'd get the ball, knock down an open 3. If not, put the ball, dribble drive, get to the rim. Not so much isolation. He's fallen into that role. You know Melo can be great as a stretch 4. You know Russell can take the team over. Now in this part of the season, when everybody plays hard, everybody's gearing up for seeding, now stars prevail, okay? Melo's not going to play as hard in the beginning of the season. He's still working his way into shape than he is now. Paul George is still figuring things out. This is why stars are stars. We don't name them stars from the regular season, from the postseason, from the playoff run, when seeding is important. How tight is the West right now?
It's incredible.
Incredible, right?
By the way, you could end up having to play like a Houston. You could end up playing Utah.
Oh, my gosh.
And they're on fire, and they believe in themselves. Well, I got to get Alvin Gentry's going crazy, and he's complaining about the officials. And John Calipari's got a great program. He's having a hell of a year. He's complaining about the officials. Is it because in basketball, it's the hardest sport to officiate? You don't have an offsides like you do in hockey or soccer or in football, and that it's a subjectively every call is pass interference. Is it because that? I watched this victimhood thing in basketball, Calipari, Alvin Gentry. Do you believe Anthony Davis doesn't get calls? LeBron doesn't get calls. Harden gets too many. What do you believe as a former player?
Well, I've told you this before, Colin. All we ask is consistency. That's all we want as players. And imagine you at the workplace. You like to talk about the workplace a lot. If you're given an assignment to do a job, and you do the job to the best of your ability, you know in your heart you put forth a winning effort, and you somehow fall short by something that is out of your control, and you know you deserve to have the rewards of the accomplishing of whatever job you did, and you don't get that, you feel like somebody has stolen something from you. I was with Coach Gentry with the Clippers. He's a stand-up guy. I mean, happy every day, enjoyable, respectful. He's one of the good guys in the league that we have. So when I saw Coach Gentry go off and rant, how upset he was, how fired up he was, I know there's something going on wrong. It's not okay. Colin, I've been on both sides of this thing where we were essentially cheated from the refs, and the refs have cheated for me. I am saying that the referees cheat. They hold personal vendettas.
They do.
They go too far. They will assume a call before it happens.
Drives me nuts.
And we talked about how close the West is, right?
Right.
So a call or two literally sways the outcome of our game.
From opening with Houston to opening against Portland. Finally, we got the video of LeBron and Ty Lue arguing. Now, we always say it's pro sports, there's money, everybody can handle it. But this is the first time I've seen LeBron shout down a head coach. Now, Spoelstra, he would bump. The little cryptic.
Yes.
What did you make of Ty Lue LeBron's fight this past Thursday? Like, it was intense.
Colin, we're grown men here. Ty Lue is the type of guy willing to deliver a tough message. LeBron obviously knows who he is. He knows he's bigger than the organization. He's bigger than Ty Lue. He's passionate. This guy's one of the greatest. Listen, Colin, he's one of the greatest competitors we have ever seen play the game. LeBron James, that is. He wants to win. Ty wants to win. Emotions will flare. You are allowed a moment of emotion. And Ty Lue is a coach who's going to say the tough things to a player. We're in the locker room with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Rondo, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, all those guys. Do you know who would always spoke up? Who always said the tough messages that had to come across?
Who?
Ty Lue. So if LeBron's taking a horrible shot, he's not getting back on defense, that's why he's there to do his job. Afterwards, I know they'll get along. They'll get together. They've succeeded. They've won. This wasn't the first, nor will it be the last argument that they'll have or disagreement.
How long do you know Ty Lue? When do you think he comes back?
He'll be back definitely before the playoffs, obviously. I want to say that if, hopefully health-wise, he'll be back and it's not something more serious, even bigger, something that they can't pinpoint. But I know, if I don't know anything about Ty Lue, I know he won't miss out. Or if he's missing, it's something big. But obviously, I think just some stress, priorities. Hey, man, how serious is this basketball thing? Is it worth my life? And he puts life and things in perspective. And I know he'll come back as a better coach, and then you'll have the respect of those guys in the locker room. And even bigger, the respect of who? LeBron James.
Ryan Hollins, 10 years in the league. Good seeing you, bud.
My man, appreciate it.
Spring has sprung, and that means it's time for a little spring cleaning. But this year, start with the underwear drawer. Replace your old multi-pack underwear with the mind-blowing comfort of Tommy John, the revolutionary clothing company for the modern man. It's committed to providing unparalleled comfort. No wedgies, no shrinking. I've owned Tommy John T-shirts for 3.5 years. They've got socks that stay up all day. Lightweight undershirts, never come untucked. Wearing a shirt now and the socks. Words can't do it justice. Go to TommyJohn.com now. Use the code HERD for 20% off your first order. Code HERD, 20% off. Clothing needs to feel good. Nothing feels better than Tommy John. Go to TommyJohn.com. committed to providing unparalleled comfort, not only in their undergarments, but in all their incredible apparel.